Jay Johnson, welcome to the Great Seeking and Awakening podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You made it.
I made it.
Congratulations. Um,
Yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I have my baseball cap on, so I'm so sorry, but I'm like, I didn't want to cancel, so I'm gonna muster through and then rest later. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming in. So, Jay, you are a neuroscience researcher, a
Yes,
transpersonal psychologist, a conscious facilitator, bridging science, embodiment, and soul-led purpose.
yes,
You also served in the U.S. Air Force as a medic,
I sure did.
and you hold an undergraduate degree in neuroscience and psychology and a graduate degree in neuroscience. Oh my God, what do you not have? So, Jay, I know that we spoke over the phone a few weeks ago, and you shared with me your profound spiritual evolution that you've gone through
Yes.
and how it helped open up some new truths for you. So, I think the focus of this podcast interview would be to go through and share what was your spiritual evolution, what were the ups and downs, and then your trajectory going forward. I will leave the floor to you and share away.
Thank you so much for having me. So, I am from a small town outside of Chicago called Hobart, Indiana, but I was born in Gary, Indiana. So that's where I was born. And I just transplanted several areas, lived in Texas, lived in Virginia, and lived in Ohio. My father was a United States Marine, and my mother was a surfer from San Diego, California. I'm a fourth generational veteran. I chose to go into the United States Air Force, and I served for about 7 years active duty and 3 years in the Air National Guard. So I was a medic. I specialized in medevac. So I was qualified on 3 different aircraft, C-130, 141, and the C-9, which was specifically for medevac. I bring this rare combination of science and service and embodied spirituality to the work of human transformation. Before stepping into this chapter of my life, I served with the United States Air Force, and then after that, I got out of the Air Force and went into my undergraduate studies, which I was going to go into nursing. But then my mother passed away. So I dropped out for a semester to just obviously grieve, and went back and changed my major to neuroscience. So there's psychology with that, obviously. And then eventually I think it was 2009, I went and did my graduate studies in neuroscience. And then I did some extensive work in transpersonal psychology and, studying how the brain functions and how consciousness is, what consciousness is and the meaning of that and lived experience and how that shapes our healing and behavior. It wasn't until I did the studies in transpersonal psychology that I was like, light bulb went off, right? And when I was doing my studies, I just came to the realization I did not want to focus on the problem. I didn't want to be a part of diagnosing people and labeling people. And so I ended up not going into it right away. I'm actually stepping into that now. I was in clinical research for 23 years. I focused on what actually creates the lasting change in the body and the brain. And over time, one truth was undeniable. And that piece of it with my studies with the Newman Institute and the facilitators here in the Portland area, information alone doesn't transform people. Insight is not enough. And the real change happens when our nervous system feels safe. And
Yes.
when I was in uh, clinical research. I was planes, trains, and automobiles. My nervous system was so jacked up. And when I started my spiritual awakening, it was after the loss of my father in 2018. And then I had a dog that I had to euthanize because he, um, was not well. And that kind of was the catalyst for my growth. And it was a fast takeoff. It was like warp speed. It was very intense. And you're just coming to the realization that of the truths of this rock that we live on, and just realizing that that didn't happen. It didn't happen up until that point because my nervous system did not feel safe. When the body is regulated and aligned and coherent, that's when the healing sticks. And so the behavior changes, your purpose comes online, you start to peel away the ego and kind of just go within yourself. And so I had this spiritual awakening and I was on that path, and I'm like, okay, I went through the whole bypassing, oh, this is love and light and all that. Everybody goes through that. But then I came to the initiation and a lot of people don't go to the initiation because they kind of get stuck in that spiritual bypassing, because it's like, oh, it's all love and light and all this. But when you're really stepping into the initiation portion of that spiritual awakening, that's when it's really like everything falls away. Everything that's not going to serve you in your future is going to fall away. So friends started to fall away that weren't in alignment, and there was a lot. It was a tough process. It was a lot of grief. And so um, I just, this personal evolution, I just experienced, there was sadness with it, and this conditioning falling away, and how the roles and my identities and these inherited beliefs. And I just kept following. And part of that process is really surrender, to truly just surrender to the spirit and understand that you're carried through this deeper spiritual initiation. And it's hard because humans are so conditioned. We want to feel like we're in control, but we're really not. And when we realize this, there's so much that happens with that, and it you process everything, like the fear with it and all of these different emotions, grief and anger. And you're like, why me? And you feel like, in a sense, you're losing your mind. But I often say, because I'm coming out of it, that you have to lose your mind in order to find your soul. And so for me, yeah, the awakening was awareness, seeing things differently. And the initiation was the actual embodiment of all of that, of being loving and patient and kind and understanding that we are in an amazing time right now where the consciousness of humanity is increasing on a daily. People are starting to feel it. What's going on? Waking up. People will say, I'm waking up to the truths of the world. And when you go through this initiation, it's truly an embodiment of everything that you've learned and you've peeled away, and you start to live differently. You start to live with intention, and everything that you do is about intention, about shedding these old identities and walking through uncertainty, which is fear, and aligning with part of my life with truth and integrity and service, and not just theory, but integration and living in coherence, which is in alignment with what our true self is. The journey led me to kind of, messing around with the podcast thing. And then I woke up one morning and it was like, I got this download, and it was like, get podcast guests. And I'm like, okay, I guess maybe this is the next direction, right? Like, it's like, I kept saying to myself, I got to focus on one thing, and then everything else will fall into place. Because we kind of get so bogged down with life, and what is it that I'm supposed to do when you're in this initiation. You're like, okay, well, what is it that I'm supposed to do, God? What do you want me to do? That kind of thing. And it was focus on the podcast. So I said, okay, put this ad out. And it was like the response was so overwhelming. I was like, wow, this is so when you truly listen to your soul, it changes your life, and you start to really live in that coherence. So Harness the Shift is a podcast that I started, and it's on YouTube and Spotify. And it's a platform that I would like to create for people that are stepping into their purpose and creating tangible impact in their communities. And on the podcast, we explore grounded, honest conversations about embodiment, about initiation, the spiritual initiation, about the awakening and nervous system regulation, and what it actually looks like when we turn awareness into real world action. And so I, s- I've come into this knowing over the last year that lots of different tools are out here. I've just recently started to embody what is called quantum human design. And I'm developing basically this method of coaching because I'm moving from research into coaching and consulting. And this coherence method is about helping people regulate their energy, step into their aligned decision making, and create environments where teams perform, they innovate, and they thrive from a place of clarity and presence and purpose. I know that there are many folks that are out there that are in positions that really are not serving them. When we start to understand what's in alignment and what's not, it can change your life. And, not everybody is meant to be a leader, and not everybody is meant to be, um, a follower, right? So, like, there's people that should be in leadership positions that aren't, because they just have that innate ability to do so. So I would love to work with those people and to really bring human design into, the corporate world, because I think that, I'm an observer, right? So I've been in this observer phase of my awakening for a long time. And I just get on social media. I don't have to comment. I just observe, and I see where people are talking about toxic work environments and toxic bosses and not being treated right. And I really believe that the quantum human design can just change the landscape and really help bring that space together where teams can really work from that and thrive from that when they have clarity and they're in the present. I truly believe that mindfulness, being in the present, is a game changer. I think it's a prerequisite for the spiritual awakening. The more that we can be in the present, the more we see things out here, all of the synchronicities, how the spirit communicates with us in nature. And then we can also bring in practices like the mindfulness, journaling, breath work, because we really haven't been taught how to breathe and how breath can actually regulate the nervous system, especially when we're learning to be present and being mindful of when we're being triggered. And can ask ourselves when we are triggered that, and knowing when we're triggered, that it's not about other people most of the time. It's about ourselves. There's signals, there are cues to where we can ask ourselves, okay, where is this coming from? Why is this landing in me? And when did I first carry this? And really peel back that. And I think just because I'm in my spiritual initiation, if you will, doesn't mean that I don't get triggered. I'm human. Okay. Like it's a constant thing, but there's that awareness there that I can pause and I can take a deep breath and I can say, wait a minute, is this about me? Okay. I think when you do that, that is a demonstration of emotional intelligence. And I see that we're moving in a positive direction with humanity with regard to that. I'm excited for the future. It's an amazing thing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And one thing I do want to say about the triggers, this self-inquiry, it's so transformative. Instead of reaching or blaming other people, if we can step into curiosity and awareness about ourselves and go inward, almost every trigger point, every trigger points to some sort of an unprocessed experience within ourselves. We've been conditioned as humans to project because we may have not done our healing. And we have to understand that when things are projected onto us, that we don't have to take that on, that is a part of the person who's projecting onto us. That's part of their journey. If we do that awareness, that self-inquiry about, well, where is this really coming from? And the human design just adds another layer because it's this energetic blueprint. It helps map our energy and our decision-making systems and how they're naturally wired. And most people are exhausted because they live someone else's design. Like I was saying earlier, not everybody's a natural born leader. Not everybody is a worker bee, right? If we're living somebody else's design, we're forcing ourselves into roles that don't fit for us. Understanding our design allows us to stop forcing and start flowing and contributing authentically. It's just massive implications for teams, because when teams fail, it's usually because the energy isn't aligned. And when roles don't fit, it's because it's not a fit with the natural wiring of a human being. And so I just love the human design piece, because it's like, yes, it's like, it's all about energy and frequency, because we're 99% energy and frequency and 1% body. So it would make sense that we would heal in that way. And so I often bring in my coaching program the frequency, like the right frequencies, and healing that way. And, tools like X39, which was developed by regenerative medicine scientists. And definitely, I mentioned breath work. It's so essential. It's especially when it's intentional. And with the Numa Institute that I mentioned before, when I was talking about my transpersonal psychology studies, we would do breath work, and it was basically amplified states of consciousness. So it was breathing to shamanic music. There were no psychedelics involved in this. Now you can, obviously, but I personally don't recommend that in the beginning of the awakening process. I think that oxygen alone is a great thing. And this process of the breath work, which is this amplified states of consciousness, it's a labored breathing, and it brings you into it's amazing how the body takes over. Like you breathe, and then your body just gets into this free flow state, and you're in this theta and delta brainwaves state. And you can, with your third eye, the pineal, you can see into the mind, right? And really deconstruct some things that you may have seen, because you are observing it and you're not attaching the emotion to it. Breath work, sound and frequency, that's pretty much that in a nutshell.
My
I know that was
first
long.
Yeah, my first reaction to that is, "Oh my god, there's so much in
Yeah,
what you just transmitted,
so much
so much, and it's all on point." I
on
think
point.
you are the journey that you've gone through has
Yeah.
allowed you to collect all of these different things from different
Oh, yeah.
modalities and bring them all together.
Yeah.
I made a note here, we were talking about the triggers. The
Mhm.
triggers
Yeah.
are like activation gifts.
Oh my
If
god. Big
if
time.
you Yeah,
Dude, but there's been times, like, where I'll have a trigger and I'm thinking in my head at the same time, like, "This isn't about them. This isn't about them.
yeah,
Take a deep breath. Calm down, don't match the energy, like, all like, so quick, right? It's
yeah,
like data coming in, and it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing if we just slow down, we are able to pause and have that inner dialogue going on at the same time we're being triggered by someone. It's pretty
and
wild.
as you practice, it
Mhm.
becomes easier to
Big time.
identify these clues that your higher self is giving you
Right.
because you've asked for them, but the human self needs to do you need to meet the universe halfways. It'll
Yeah.
do the rest of the job.
Yeah. This whole transpersonal psychology, the spiritual self and the actual physical self, it's like this dance, right? And it's very confusing in the beginning. You really have to have a lot of self-compassion and grace and all of these amazing things that Christ taught us and that other spiritual teachers before Christ taught us in this idea of being mindful in this chaos, right? Like there's a lot of chaos out here and it is a practice and it takes a lot of discipline. But if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to move the needle for yourself, it's life changing, literally life changing, transformative. I can't even say that enough. I don't even know who that person is that when I began this journey 7 years ago. I don't even
Totally
know.
agree. Yeah,
It
I feel the
it's like
same way. I'll look at pictures or old things, and I'm like, "Who is that
yeah,
guy?
who
Like,
is that?
what?"
Yeah. And
Um,
I I think another thing is that when we can be compassionate to ourselves in this process, we can learn to have compassion for other folks. We truly can embody this concept of compassion and not take everything so personal and realize that we have opportunities, triggers are opportunities, but they're also an opportunity for you to say, that's not about me. And I'm not going to take that on and not match the energy and just, say something that is wise and not hurtful because that's another piece of it, right? That
right.
we want to make sure that we are being loving and patient and kind, even when folks are being difficult. If we can be the example of calm and being non-reactive, it can be kind of life-changing for folks too, because they're whoa, she didn't even get upset. What's going on? Um, it's pretty wild. I had a death in the family last March and I was around my family and I was much more quieter than I usually have been in the past. And I think people thought things were wrong and I was just taking everything in. I was taking in all the data, right? And all of the opportunities to step out, because there's some folks in my family that like to do that projection thing. And there were many opportunities that I could have stepped into matching that energy and I didn't. I just kept it moving. And it's something when you're on this growth and this growth path and you you learn that piece of it, that we don't have to take everything personal, because it's not about us.
It's having that discernment to be able
Yes.
to decode, and
Yes.
coming from a heart-centered spot to give the proper response that is probably needed from the other person or the people.
Right.
My Our job as humans is to understand who we really are and all of those basics, but it's to become the best version of ourselves that we've agreed to take this journey.
Yeah.
And the trans like the transformation that a person goes through, that energy or example is activating for other people. And
Big time.
I went through the phase of trying to, "Hey, everybody,
Yeah.
you're missing out. You
Yeah.
what are you not seeing?" And then I realized,
Yeah.
okay, no, it's not about changing people, it's about changing myself,
Right.
right? You are the
Yeah.
example.
It's such an opportunity to really gauge your growth, like how far you've come, and you're like, sit back and you're like, wow, man, the old Jamie. My real name is Jamie. My nickname is Jay, but I go by Jay, and I always say Jamie's dead. She died.
Yeah,
That's the old in the ego. Um,
but she served her purpose
she
for
did.
the current Jay.
She did. She sure
Yes,
did. Yes. And with you as well, right? And you're stepping
100%.
in. It's like it's such an amazing journey. I want to hear about your journey, Mark.
Well, let's defer that, and we'll do that
Yeah.
on your podcast at
I
another
think that would
time.
be
Yeah.
amazing. I think that
I
would be amazing. But
I
yeah,
wanna keep the focus on you and your message, which has been incredible.
some folks ask, like, what's the main thing that I can start doing like today? And hands down, from my perspective and my lived experience in this journey, is mindfulness. Sitting in the stillness, being mindful of your own thoughts, asking questions. How, when, where, why, what? Where is this coming from? And that goes down to like even the self-limiting beliefs that we have, right? Because that ego can be the little devil on his shoulder and say, "Well, who do you think you are? You,
Mhm.
no one's going to listen to you." All these little things, and it's like it tries to keep you from sharing the wisdom. And here's the thing: God is calling, our creator is calling us to step up and share big time, because there are folks that need to be led and need help making sense of all of this. I was going through this with several friends that were going through it through the same time. And although we weren't together, like in the physical, they're in other areas of the country, we helped each other. And that's really what it's about, is helping each other kind of figure this out, because we're all just trying to figure it out. And the more that you can get in the books and read from some of the greats that are out there, Joe Dispenza talking about consciousness and what that is. And there are so many amazing coaches out here that have gone through the same journey. You've gone through the journey, really stepping up and activating your throat and speaking. It's so powerful right now.
It's beautiful, it's what we signed up to do, right?
I know, right? I'm like, I signed up for this
Yeah. Did I really?
for now, but
Try not to analyze it too much and accept it. Let's shift a little bit here. I've got another podcast called the Q5 Better Human podcast, and
oh,
the Q5 is the 5 questions
okay.
the tagline is "The best of humanity, 5 questions at a time." But
Mm.
how I'm going to structure it is it'll be like a call-in line that people just
Oh,
call in and record the 5 questions.
I love
So,
that.
you're the first person that I actually share this with. I've been working on this for quite
Yeah.
a while. I think it would be a good way to close this podcast with going through the 5 questions that I'll ask
Okay.
you,
Okay.
which are part of the Q5 Better Human
Goodness.
project. Q5, there's a little bit of a hidden, clue in there. There's 3
Yeah.
things, so quantum 5, and then human design number
Quantum
5 refers to the
5.
heretic, and angel number 5
Yep.
symbolizes major life changes, new opportunities, personal freedom, and adventure. All of that
Yes.
stuff kinda wrapped up together. Down the road, I'll be able to kind of restructure that and do something with it. This is going to be like a short form. Anybody can call in, and the
I
people
love
that
that.
have in the people that have interesting responses may fit to go as a guest in the Great Seeking and Awakening podcast or the Share and Shine podcast.
Perfect. It's
Okay,
interesting
so
that you said heretic. In the human design, I'm a generator and I am a 5-1. So a heretic
ah,
and
there's the
investigator,
number
which
5.
makes sense because of the research.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, Jay, let's finish off by having you contribute to the Q5 Better Human podcast questions.
Okay.
Question number 1, who is Jay?
Well, for real, I am this ball of energy and wisdom that I have integrated over lifetimes. I am an old soul. I generate ideas and they might not be just for me. They could be for people in my orbit. So, I am so many, but at the core of who I am, my being my true authentic self, I can say now I am someone who embodies true unconditional love. I can't believe I'm saying that for the first time, but I am. I think, and that's the goal, right? Is to
Yeah,
see people and see their soul. And I think I always have. It's just all that conditioning from this rock we live on. I am definitely a child of my creator and there is no separation from God. So I would say
beautiful.
that I am a wise soul.
Love it.
I don't know if that's the right answer.
Well, the beautiful thing about this, there is only one right answer to that one person who's answering the question, right?
True.
Which
True.
I just can't wait to deploy this project and just, see what
Yeah.
people share. But, I'm a witness of seeing what had happened. You took the time to
Yeah.
go in, and then you ended up saying
Hmm.
something that unlocked you.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Question number 2,
Thank you.
what brings the most joy to Jay?
I think the most joy that I get is just, I have these little interactions with other creatures. It's the most amazing thing. I think that brings me a lot of joy. And when people have their light bulb moment, that to me is like, yes, I love that. I love that.
Question number 3, what is the purpose of this game called life?
The purpose of this game called life is to remember that we're benevolent beings and to remember love, like true unconditional love, and to feel that. That's why we come in this avatar and this meat suit, is to learn that. And that's the goal, is to learn that. Learn that for ourself, to love ourself, because when we love ourself, we can love others.
Question number 4, what future reality are you creating?
Mm. My future reality, and I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills as we're speaking, is this podcast. Like, I have to say, The interviews that I've had, the one-on-ones to like get prepared to have people on, everyone is so unique. Everyone that has come on is so different, and the wisdom that they bring is so different. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm onto something. And bringing that together, right? And understanding that I don't have to know everything, that I'm open to learning. That's what's cool, right? Like, I don't need to know everything. I can bring folks on that can share with me their wisdom about what it is that they do and how they're moving the needle for humanity and how they're changing their communities. I see this podcast getting bigger and bigger, and I'm hoping that it'll be something that I can sit down with people face to face, that the currency flow is not going to be an issue, that I'll be able to sit with people, not necessarily a talk show, but to sit down with people face to face, because I think that the energy with that is amazing. So that's where I see it going. That's the reality I'm creating. I'm a solution-based kind of person. We know what the problem is, so let's focus on the solution. I'm kind of no nonsense in that way. Through my experience, I know if you do the work, you can have a transformative experience. So the prerequisite is to just be open. When you're open, anything can happen. It's an amazing concept to be open.
Let it flow.
Let it flow. When you're in the flow, cool. Everything just flows. It's beautiful. And the moment that we force, or the moment that we put on the brakes, the moment that we want to be in control, that's when we fall into the suffering. Do your part and flow with it, and it's an amazing thing. I think that I've had to learn that with this podcast, that people that I'm interviewing, I have to just flow with it. I may not necessarily agree with everything that we talk about, but at the end of the day, I can meet people where they're at. And I think that's important. We need to learn that.
Question number 5. If you can send a text message to every phone, every computer, and every laptop around the world, what would that message be?
Wow, that's powerful. I would say that you are powerful. You embody so much power to change whatever it is that you want to change. And it just requires this openness. I would say be open to any and all information and learn to embody love of yourself at the self level. And then you can learn how to love others.
Beautiful. One bonus question that is optional,
Sure.
and that's choose your own question. If you can create a question that is specific for you that nobody's ever asked you, what would that question be?
I think that would be like, what is the dilemma that humanity is facing in this moment right now? And I think the dilemma is nervous systems are not regulated. And so when we regulate the nervous system, we clear the mind and the heart leads, and then your life aligns.
Like magic.
Like magic. And there
Like
is
the
magic.
system.
God, there is and magic is not, it's not, I think there are many folks that are in the religious programming that think magic is a bad thing, but magic is miracles. Like it's a play on words, right? And there are things that can happen. When I was talking about being in nature, like it's magical, the things that happen when you're in the present and you're paying attention.
Mm.
God communicates with us every day. Every day, the spirit. I'm just like, thank you. Like, and you have to be present in order to see that. In the scripture, there is some, I'm paraphrasing it. It's the path is narrow for a reason. And it is, because it requires you to make the choice to take that path, to be the light on the path, embody presence, and hold the frequency. Not ego, not manipulation, just live truth. When your nervous system is coherent, everything falls into alignment. Decisions, relationships, clarity, and purpose and presence. That's the work. That's where we truly have coherence and happiness, when we're operating in that frequency. Love.
Yep. And it's magical when you let the thing do what it was designed to do.
Let the thing do what it was designed to do. Yep.
Jay, thank you for your service with the Air Force.
Oh,
And
thank you so
now,
much.
and now to the service you're doing for humanity.
Thank you. And Mark, thank you for the service that you're doing for humanity. I cannot wait to have you on.
I can't wait to be on. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.